So you know how at the end of this week's SESSLERS something, I was saying how nothing really happened in the industry the previous week and maybe something will happen in the ensuing week? Okay, dear game industry, stop doing things. You've done enough for the course of the week. Yeah, this is, I guess, an emergency SESSLERS something. Like, you know, the defibrillators are out. We're going to go dunk. You can say clear. Yeah, Nintendo not doing a press conference at E3. That was sure a big surprise. Upon hearing it, it just seemed strange and bizarre, especially since it was announced in a Q&A session with analysts with Iwata. So it wasn't like kind of a public announcement. It was probably a more honest statement of what they were doing, but it really wasn't spun or made clear as to what was happening. We do have a statement now from Nintendo of America that is clarifying things. So there is no big televised press conference from Nintendo. There will be two separate events. One will be for distributors. These are probably the Walmarts, the GameStops, and the Best Buys of the world, who will be sitting at the Nokia Theater where traditionally the press conference is held. They will have a closed-door meeting. No press can attend. Alternately, the press or some invited members of the press can go to the Nintendo booth on the E3 show floor early at the same time before the show floor opens to get hands-on with the games. So what does this mean? I don't know, but it looks like Nintendo is sticking their head in the sand. Yes, there's gonna be a lot of attention going to Sony and to Microsoft with their brand new consoles, but that would strike me as making it more important that they put on a good face and show a strong software lineup to help stimulate sales of the Wii U to make a strong case for it. The console has not been selling well since the beginning of this year. I believe January, February, and March combined are below 500,000 units. That is very bad, but the cause of it is quite evident. There's no games to play for it. So what they need to do is present that software. I believe they probably have some. I would like to think they have some, and to kind of have a showcase to remind people that this is the House of Mario, that this is the House of Zelda, and that these games are forthcoming would do a lot to keep the system in people's minds as something they would consider buying, at least as a second system to their Sony or Xbox purchase that's going to happen this year or next year. Not that I always think that their wording inside of a press release or a statement to analysts is exactly, you know, hard truth, but we have to go by what they've said. And it seems that they believe the Nintendo Directs, these are the videos that they do sporadically and without much warning, that go to consumers and the press, if they're watching, are a more effective means to communicate their message. That is very disheartening to me. Yes, a lot of people do watch those Nintendo Directs, but it's an echo chamber. They're Nintendo fans. They're the people that are on my Twitter account calling me a bad person for thinking bad things about Nintendo, despite the fact that I really like the company. This is not an effective way to get the sales that they need for the Wii U. The Wii was so remarkably successful because it found an audience outside of the core gamer audience and more so the core Nintendo audience. Using Nintendo Direct to try to prop up their system, it doesn't serve that purpose. It doesn't make a strong case for the system because in those viewers' eyes, that case has already been made. I'm really getting disturbed by the way that Nintendo seems to continually live inside a bubble. The 3DS had a bad launch because it had a bad software lineup. In fact, that's true of the GameCube as well. Why they continue to make the same mistake over and over, thinking that something different is going to come out, is the definition of insanity. I would like to think that they would listen sometimes to the complaints, to the concerns of analysts, of the press, and of a lot of gamers out there because it's earnest and it's honest. No one wants to see Nintendo fail. If Nintendo suddenly leaves the marketplace, this is a very bad thing for the game industry. But Nintendo seems to be incapable of recognizing the realities of the video game marketplace. It has changed since their heyday, not just of the Wii, but of the Super Nintendo system. They have to move and understand what people are looking for, and they're looking for a reason to play games on that system that's not just loyalty to a brand that once reigned supreme, but once again seems to have lost its way. All right, this SESSLERS something is just me because I was up all night thinking about Nintendo and things like that. Yes, comment on the bottom. We'll have a normal SESSLERS something coming next week. Once again, we're going to keep you up to date about how we'll be covering Nintendo during E3. We have no reason to believe that we're not going to be able to showcase their games, which I have to be honest, I'm looking forward to.